Tell me, how do you react when you hear a song that really moves you? You know, that really gets to you down in your soul, down in your heart. Do you like pump your fist? Do you shout? Do you say yes? Do you say yeah? Do you say yeah? Maybe you're just like super cool and you're dead quiet and you kind of nod your head. Me, I laugh. Like if I hear a song, it doesn't matter what genre, if it's a pop song and it's really catchy, or if it's a rap song and it really makes me nod my head, it really gets me, it really does all the things that I want rap music to do, I just laugh. And I found myself driving to work on Friday, listening to the new album Slant Face Killah by Conway the Machine. I found myself going through the tracks and laughing and laughing and laughing. Almost every track was that good. Thank you for auditing the always positive new music review show hosted by a French professor who's in a hotel room in Saratoga Springs, New York. As a matter of fact, I will show you at the end of the video. I am looking out, I'm using the window as my natural light source, and I see an actual racetrack with horses running by. So I'll try not to be too distracted because this is a wild place to be. So this is an always positive music channel, and if you've been paying attention, I've gone viral for my coverage of the rap beefs. But the thing is, rap beefs, even if there's a lot of positive things happening, a lot of great songs, a lot of interesting things to discuss, the question of what is the soul of hip-hop, what is the face of hip-hop, all that, it's hard to be really positive when the entire event is basically negative. So I want to remind you that what I really want to do with this channel is glory in human creation. I know that sounds very highfalutin, but hey, I am an actual professor, an actual academic, and that's how I choose to use the time where I should be writing papers about 17th century French theater that no one will read, okay? I want to talk about the glory of human creation. Sometimes that's with rock albums, I just reviewed that Lemon Twigs album. Sometimes it's pop albums with Dua Lipa, but my favorite genre to talk about is rap, and I just want to remind you something. We have this image of rap having a golden age and having that golden age end. We had this image of the 90s being the good time for hip-hop. And I just got to tell you, as somebody who came back to rap music in 2018 with this channel, as somebody who woke up from his forced slumber underneath a tree as the Robert Van Winkle, the Rip Van Winkle of music criticism here, we're still in a better time than we were back then. I know, it's shocking. A 46-year-old says that rap is better now than it was then, but I can back it up with just 5-6 years of listening to so much rap music and so much of it being so good. This week is fascinating because there's 4 projects I want to cover. Now, fortunately, it's finals week, so with the exception of so much grading, I have a fair amount of time. And 2 of these artists, and provided that Kendrick and Drake don't release 5 more tracks that just derail me and the rest of the internet for the rest of the week, there's 2 albums by artists who I know of, who I'm familiar with, but have never really studied seriously. Gunna and Chief Keef. I'll be getting to those later. But at the beginning half of this week, I want to talk about 2 artists that I know very well. Conway the Machine and Face Killah. And the weird thing is, these are 2 of my favorite rappers. If I had to have like a top 10, they are probably both in my top 10 all time. I consider Face Killah to be top 5. Check out my review of him very soon. And I have often considered Conway the Machine to be a Gorn, a greatest of right now. But it's weird that they both released albums on the same day. They both are reminding people who like hip-hop, who like that golden era of hip-hop, primarily shepherded by Wu-Tang Clan, in my opinion, that there's still great music that can harken back to that. So we have sort of like a battle, an unexpected battle, a face battle. I mean, even this album is called Slant Face Killah. He's even making reference. Both of them even have Method Man features. It's pretty wild. So let me just start off by ending any kind of real suspense. There's 2 battles happening here. 1, which Face album is the better Face album? And 2, which album has the better Method Man feature? The first battle goes to Conway the Machine. I will talk about the things that I enjoy about the Face Killah album, but this album by Conway the Machine is really, really good. It's a lot closer than I thought it would be, but it's really nice for me because I'm always positive. And what that means is, if there's an artist that you know that I like, and I don't review their product, I don't review their album, product, crass terminology, I don't review their album, that means I didn't like it. That means I think there's some decline. Now, Conway the Machine has released a lot of albums in the last couple years, but he dropped like a mainline album, Won't He Do It? Exactly the kind of thing I would review. From King to a God is one of my favorite rap albums of the past 5 years. I'd like to God Don't Make Mistakes. I didn't think it was as good as that. And I did not review Won't He Do It? So I'm not going to say negative things except to say, yikes, I didn't think it was that good. He did an entire EP with Conductor Williams. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I try to review and keep up with who's the top producers at the moment. I consider Conductor Williams to be one of the 5 best producers working right now. And they released an EP together. And I didn't review it. What is going on? Now, is it just because the cover featured like someone with a nosebleed and I have just this weird thing from Andrew WK to The Weeknd? I don't like nosebleeds. It just makes me uncomfortable. But let's not get over hating here. I did review the project with Jay Skye's, which was amazing. No one watched my video on it. That's all right. That's cool, you know. Drake and Kendrick will bankroll me covering smaller projects, apparently. And this is just a hobby I picked up in the lobby anyway. And his project with 38 Spesh was maybe like my favorite rap project of the year last year, certainly of the underground. I mean, I really, really like that album. Another album I bought on vinyl. If I were at home and not in, and this is true, the hotel where I'm staying is a repurposed stable. And it feels like I want to eat hay. It's crazy here. But those 2 projects were really great. So it's not like he's fallen off, but the quality is a little bit more mixed, which is why I'm so happy that Slant Face Killah is just so good. And what makes it so good? Well, and this is good that you have a professor here, okay? Somebody who teaches hip hop in academia to tell you the reason why this album is good. 1 second. Beats and rhymes. I know. It's because I have a doctorate and I'm an intellectual. I'm able to bring you analysis of that level that you could have never figured out on your own with your little pea brains. But let's be honest. That's what makes a great rap album. It doesn't matter what it is. If it doesn't have good beats and it doesn't have good rhymes, it doesn't matter the guest features, it doesn't matter the theming, none of that. And this album, like most Griselda albums, has awesome beats and amazing rhymes all the way through. And we have to really credit Conway because I think beat selection is maybe the most underrated skill that a rapper has. If a rapper has no power, right? If they have no control over what they do, then we don't give them credit, right? If they like just sign to a label and they put, okay, we can get Mike Will to do a beat, okay, we can get this to do a beat and kind of throw it together. But when you're Conway and you have a lot of control over what you do, you have to understand he's choosing to do the things that he wants. And what he's doing on this album is pretty interesting. Kind of like the Ghost Face Killah project. This is sort of a bifurcated project. There's a little bit of Guns N' Roses. There's a little bit of traditional style Griselda, grimy boom bap, drumless, or not really drumless, just hard boom bap, awesome grimy stuff that we all love. And then some more modern sounds, 808 style drum machines. My opinion of some of the more modern sounding beats is a little bit more mixed. But I want to really focus in on the fact that the album's called Slant Face Killah. And I don't want to go too far on this. But as you probably know at this point, Conway the Machine is famous for having Bell's palsy, which means that his face is a little bit like he has sort of like some kind of aphasia, some kind of like inability to move half of his face with consistency, which gives him the appearance of having a slanted face. There's something about the way that the beats work on this album that often makes you feel slanted, that makes you feel a little bit off. Maybe it's Conductor Williams when he intentionally, constantly warbles his beat to the point where you feel, okay, this is an old head reference. So hey, if you're under the age of, Jesus Christ, probably 40, this won't make any sense to you. There used to be things called Walkmans. Walkmans used to work on batteries, usually 2 AA batteries, and they reached a point where your Walkman went low on batteries, and it would just go, and it would start off like swirl every once in a while, and it would just get worse and worse and worse until essentially you were tipping on fofos, and then the tape player would stop. He has that kind of effect throughout. But he's not the only one on this album who's doing interesting things with rhythms and that kind of slanted feeling. I considered recording this entire video slanted. I have such a scuffed setup. I actually have my coffee, which I use as my computer, which I use as a teleprompter, on 2 coffee cups. So there might be, because I don't edit my videos, a fantastic catastrophe in the middle of this video. We'll just have to keep it going. So that's the beats. Just all the way throughout, very, very good beats. A couple disappointing beats based on the names behind them, but for the most part, very strong beats. And then what about his rhymes? The thing that happened for me with Conway last year is he just didn't seem hungry and focused. And that's kind of a feel thing. So if you're sitting there and you're a Conway stan and you're like, you're totally wrong, Skye. Don't think about track 7 on Won't He Do It. Maybe I'm just tired. Maybe because when you review as much Griselda projects as I do, maybe I just got tired. Maybe I needed a break. Maybe I just needed to skip one. You can tell me in the comments, okay? Tell me in the comments, is Won't He Do It really as good as From King to a God? Like, it really could be. I'm not saying it's definitively not. I'm just saying it didn't hit with me. This album is thankfully not too much about sexual conquest. I find him to be particularly kind of skeevy when he's talking about sex. I don't really like sex rhymes, which it's a bad time to be alive if you don't like sex rhymes. It used to be rappers would have like one sex song and then they would basically stay away from the topic for the most part. Doesn't matter. A lot of it's also about his European vacation. If you follow him on Instagram, which I do, you know that he... Well, first of all, he was the substitute teacher for West Side Gun's tour of Europe, which he canceled. Please, West Side, don't go on a crusade and cancel me because I said something that might be construed as negative. I hope we're at peace. And he also did his own tour there. I like that. I like that kind of luxury. I like it. In my opinion, when rappers rap about doing things as opposed to having things with their money, it's more interesting. So if he's talking about being in Milan, or he's talking about being in Greece, or he's talking about the food that he's eating, the places that he is, that's more interesting than just another Ventador, another iced out wrist. I'm sorry, I left my Patek Philippe in the car, so I'll have to get it later. There's also a couple times he mentions something where he says... He refers to himself as someone who puts letters together. Machine pieces leather. This is like a tongue twister. Machine piece letters together, then I receive cheddar. How now, brown cow? The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. Machine piece letters together, then I receive cheddar. First of all, beautiful, just multiple little internal rhymes. Piece, receive, cheddar, together, letters, sheen, piece. Beautiful, just awesome construction. But it's true. Like, he really does know, and this is going to sound goofy, but he knows how to piece letters together. He knows really well how to chop off some syllables. He knows how to, for lack of a better word, stretch out the language in a way that is very satisfying and very gratifying. Like when you really study him kind of bar by bar by bar by bar. He's exceptionally good at creating slant rhymes. So slant rhymes are when words don't actually rhyme, but through your pronunciation and through sort of the context, you can make them rhyme. He has all these great slant rhymes all the way throughout this album. And matched up with it, we have his voice, which is just really... I don't even know how to describe it, because it's not like he's one of the chill rappers. I mean, Larry June is on this project, who's a chill rapper, and he's really chill. But at the same time, he's not quite a hyper rapper. Right? I mean, you can't have a hyper rapper with West Side Gun half the time, right? So he's somewhere in the middle there. Maybe it's partly because there's a kind of interesting drawl on his voice, which presumably comes from his Bell's palsy. I don't know what it is, but he has this smooth, strong confidence. And the funny thing is, he might be a rapidy rap rapper. Like, he might actually be on the sort of lyrical miracle spectrum. When I was going through this album, I've never thought of this before, by the way. I've listened to tons of his music. I really enjoy him as an artist, but the ease with which he delivers everything, the smoothness of his flow, makes me realize that it might be hiding the fact that he's sometimes just doing those things, where you just have ridiculous rhyme runs. one more thing for Conway the Machine, and hey, I'm going to get negative again. Since the beginning, I've found it hilarious that Conway the Machine has taken Puff Daddy's "ha ha" the laugh in the background. Like, it's plagiarism. It's straight plagiarism. I don't know how he gets away with it. No one else is commenting on it that I've ever seen. Like, his "ha ha" is like the exact same "ha ha" as Diddy's. But now that Diddy is canceled, I would like to make a plea to the hip hop overlords. Please tell me in the comments if you accept that he officially now gets to be the haha rapper. Okay? He is the haha rapper. That's his now. All right, if you like this video so far, smash the like bucket, subscribe. If you put in letters AVAA, that stands for awesome video as always. I will always heart a comment that says that. It's a little bit hairy these days because I'm getting a lot of views, but I'm still doing it. I do have a sponsor. Hey, go to a local chain for coffee. This Stewart Shops is like all over the place over here. I got this instead of Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know if it's better, but it's more interesting. Stewart Shops. It's more interesting. All right, I'm going to get to my stamp. Just go straight right through the opening hype song, Despertar. It's cool. It gets you hyped up, and it gets you set for the song Muddy. Click above the slant face to hear Muddy. Okay. Now, this is a song which made me laugh, but it's not the song that made me decide to start this intro. It's not the song that makes me laugh the most, but it's a Conductor Williams beat. It's that great kind of warbled sound of nice hiss on there. These cool guitar lines. The drums are so far in the back, and they're hard, and they're dusty, and I swear to God, do you know what I hear? I hear a little bit of a guitar, just for like half a second, doing dent, dent, and I think that's a reference to the song Liquid Swords off the album Liquid Swords, the first track on GZA's album. Okay, GZA's debut, so I guess he had that album before Wu-Tang. But anyways, the Liquid Swords album. It's a blink and you miss it. If your ears blink, you miss it. But I think that's what it is. And then just from the very first word, okay. Conway just eases you right in. It's 4 syllables. It's the same 2 letters repeated. Okay. From the first word, the charisma, the confidence, everything. He just lets you right in there. Then he gets to this whole chorus. They ain't here to tell about it. It gets a little bit too repetitive. And then he says, innocent kid, we made a felon out of him. Again, rhyming about it and out him. Nice sort of slanted rhymes there. And then it just sets you all up for this opening verse. Wheelchair in front of the mic, bro, hit and record. Feel like Mr. Notorious doing kick in the door. Fiend hit the dope once, made his heart burst. Fentanyl strong, he died from a grain of salt worth. Tragic, of course, all the fentanyl deaths, but anchors us right now in 2024. He did actually record a lot of this album after recovering from surgery, sitting in a wheelchair. He places you where he is. You get that feeling. And hey, if you're going to call out Kick in the Door, the best Notorious B.I.G. song, if you're going to bring out that song, I'm pretty sure. You can check my notes, but I'm pretty sure that's the best Notorious B.I.G. song. If you're going to have that kind of energy, you really have to back it up, and he really does. F around, you're going to get put on the grill next. Mud on my cleats, I was still in it when the field wet. The Grand Architect, just watch what I'm at build next. Send a young'un to kill a mission, this is just his field test. Just like mud on my cleats and the field is wet. Beautiful imagery, great thoughts here. This doubled bridge where he raps at the same, like, he like doubles his rap, like his voice. And this song is like 6 minutes long. But I didn't notice that until probably the 4th time I was listening to it, and I was trying to get ready to do this because I got to go and watch a regatta. Okay? And he says, look, it's Slant Face Killah. You said it's up when you see my boy. Can't wait. You don't want real beef. You a plant-based. I like that too. And then you think it's over because we've had a couple verses from Conway. We have a memorable chorus. And then we hear the inimitable voice of Stove God Cooks. So I'm from the Rochester area. That's where I live. I mean, I'm from Boston, but I live in the Rochester area. And we have a little competition going between Syracuse, Rochester, and Buffalo. Rochester is super smug because it's the best place to live. It's the best. They're all great and they all suck. But it's fascinating to have someone from Syracuse as well. And Stove God is just so good. No one does a better job at making complicated sounding rhymes that also sound like he is improvising them while he's talking. Also, he's so good at cutting himself off and leaving off a good rhyme, but he leaves it off so that he doesn't. So this is what he says: I ain't complaining. That ish crossed a lot of hands in the travel. I'm still gonna sell it all, from the biggest rock to the. So he doesn't say gravel. Gravel's not a cheesy word. But it creates excitement. It creates intensement. And then intensement? I don't edit my videos. Which means I, Professor Skye, have just said the word intensement. I invite you, for the rest of my life, to haunt me and say, Skye, you said intensement, okay? I never deserve to live that down. So he uses his intensement. He has this very intense verse where he talks about how he actually sells crack and gets the brick and breaks it down. And he describes sort of like how the money comes in and how it goes out. And he does it with such an attention to detail that it feels really real. And listen, I don't care. I've said this since the first time I reviewed Griselda. I don't care if they could all be trust fund kids from Portland, Oregon, for all I care. They just make great art, okay? To me, I'm not super into like the biography stuff and then he flushed the stuff down the toilet in the DEA and all that stuff. This is not trap lore Skye, okay? But if you're going to try to represent authenticity, if they are not authentic, which I think they probably are, but again, I don't care. There's no better way to do it than the way he does it, where he breaks down this whole thing. He describes how he goes about distributing crack and selling it and how much he saves and how much he spends. And then he ends it with saying it's all cap. This ish is just music. That's the best way. That's the best way to get people to believe you, is tell them this is all a lie. And he does this whole little trick where he's like, I'm Jordan and you, nah. I'm Kobe and you, nah. It sounds like he doesn't know what he's going to say, but you actually just fill it in. He says, I'm Jordan, you, and then you think, like what, Kukoc? was that like a less good player on the 96 Bills? Was Kukoc on the Bulls? Oh my God, I just called the Bulls the Bills. That's worse than intensement. And it's that feeling of being a little bit like relaxed and improvised sounding. Sorry, I just see a horse running around. Horses are beautiful. This is a really weird hotel. This is a weird weekend. How you doing, by the way? You doing well? You can tell me in the comments. Like, are you having an intensely good day? Give and Give is the next track, produced by Cool and Dre. And this secretly might be the best beat on this album. This might secretly be one of the best beats I've heard all year because, and this is true, it's completely nuts. This is one of the most outrageous, fascinatingly screwed up beats I've ever heard, but it's subtle. It's not trying to be all super duper wiki. Okay, just you have to see this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that. How am I supposed to do a video when I got straight up jockeys walking out the window? All right, that was a bad idea. Something got screwed up, so I ended up having to edit these things together. But I'm not going to edit anymore, so you get to stay with intensement. Anyways, enough about the jockeys. Let's get back to what makes this track so weird. What makes it so weird is not that it sounds on first glance like the craziest thing you've ever heard. It's not like there's whizzy whiz sounds going and things falling apart and people screaming or anything else you might imagine in a sort of avant-garde rap beat. It's that it's off just a bit. It is just, if you'll permit me to use the expression, a little slanted. But it's not like, okay, when you have a drum beat, and I talk about this a lot, you can be on the front of the beat or you can be on the back of the beat. So if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, if it's on the front of the beat, it's not like it's totally off. It's just on the beginning of it. Like it's just a little bit on top of it. And then it can be behind the beat. This has snares at the wrong time, off rhythm, stuttered beyond legibility, beyond danceability. And that creates this feeling that is just really unreal. And it's almost polyrhythm at a certain point. Now it gets sort of resolved with this piano here and there's this nice gospel singing in the back, which turns out is probably Mahalia Jackson. And these rhymes that are just, I'm talking like rappity rapper. I'm in Bora Bora with Laura Lauren and Maura Doran. That's what he said. I thought he said, and Laura Dern. Laura Dern's, one of my celebrity crushes, so that would have been pretty sweet. Ramblin' Rose, if you've never seen it. That'll change a young man. In Bora Bora with Lower Lower and More Adorn. It's just great, you know? He's just goofing around, but just the way that he delivers it, it doesn't sound as rappity rap as I just made it sound. It's gory gory, my aura more of a horror story. That's 40 poor and I went up the street, I'm storming Norman. Storming Norman, right? He has sort of a Crystalia Eminem flow in a way, right? Might get out of my vessel, just explode the orbit. I ain't know, people know it's flourished. Lower, lower, and order border. But he never sounds goofy in that way. He just has this whole series of rhymes where he's doing this multisyllabic rhymes with florin and mortgage and fortress and storage and forest and flourish and orbit. And he does it all the way through, but it's easy to miss. And then it just has this great gospel sound building up in the back until it cuts out and it's just Mahalia Jackson, I believe, singing. I'm not trying to sample snitch, but I did. But I'm sure it was cleared. Uh-oh. Anyways, Milano Nights is the next track. It's still not the laughing song. It's still not the song where I had the idea, I've got to open up my video with talking about loving music so much you laugh. But it's so good. Camouflage Monk and Elijah Hook. And this is how you really have to give Conway the credit for his style, for his approach. What does he say? His exact words. That's the energy that I want. That's what he says. That is the energy that I want. So he knows these pianos going down, these really tight, unsettling clipped drums, these little flutes that pop up, and these little hoo-hoos. Like he knows how to create the atmosphere that he wants. He knows how to make the bed that his rhymes are going to sleep in. That's how you know I'm trying to win behind you like Coach Popovich. He mispronounces Popovich, but that's okay. 5-star dinner in Greece, view of the whole Acropolis. Don't think I'm the last rapper, you effed girl, we polar opposites, and tried to reach, and I heard him like a dislocated shoulder popping in. Just going on and on. He just all these like funny, like, okay, he has this one rhyme. My B word getting money like Chloe, you can tell by the card that she in. Please tell me, internet. Okay, now that I have almost 100,000 subscribers, what the hell? Part 2, maybe one of you 100,000 people who are certainly going to watch this video can tell me, is he the first person to make this joke? Kardashian, for Kardashian, for Khloe Kardashian. You can tell by the Kardashian. Do you see this kind of way that he's playing with language? It's funny. It's doing all those things. It's the kind of punchline, which is exactly why rap music is still great, no matter how much people can fold their arms and be like, destroy lonely, more like destroy music. He also makes riding back with doggy in the back, like the mystery van. I assume he means dog food, which is the slang for heroines. I assume that's what he's talking about, but I love a good Scooby-Doo reference. True story, I do a very good full Scooby-Doo cast recreation. I do it for my children as nighttime bed stories. Like, no way. Some space here. He says some space before his last verse. Again, a lot of these songs are long, but you don't care because the rhymes are so good and the beats are so good. Those two things are so good. And in this space, there's this almost like new agey, like meditation track synthesizer sound. I wonder if that's foreshadowing for how he's going to end this with perhaps the funniest bar on this whole album. I'm bipolar. I ain't through wildin'. I'll do a drive-by to an Andre 3000 flute album. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the image of the year. Because Andre 3000's flute album, which I reviewed in Light, the idea of, hey, homeboy, like trying to shoot somebody in a drive-by to a new age ambient meditation album like that. And then it's immediately followed with that flute sample that's been going the whole time. And those meditation sounds that preceded the verse are now coming back as well. So the form is kind of matching the content here. And then obviously some sounds of some people shooting. True story, I've never been in a drive-by, but I was once drive-by paintballed on Halloween. And it was really scary. Like, they just hit me in the back. I was like 15 years old. I was like, what the hell? And then one time my brother and we decided to drive by Super Soak, a friend of mine. we just watched Boys in the Hood. He's just sitting there at the bus stop. We did him dirty. Jason, if you're watching this, I still apologize. I don't know what happened to you. We were friends, but you did kind of take advantage of me and you let me buy you too many subs at Papagino's without really being my friend. But still, it doesn't mean I should have pulled up on you at the bus stop and hit you with a super soaker. All right, some serious Professor Skye lore there. Can Express is the next track, which if you've ever been to Buffalo, New York, you now officially have like 10 places you have to eat thanks to the Chamber of Commerce known as Griselda Records. So Can Express is on Genesee Street, one of the main streets in Buffalo, on the east side at least. And I've never eaten there, but now I know what to eat there. I'm going to get some lobster fried rice. This is produced by Conductor, that full warbled beat. I can imagine if you don't like the warbled sounds, then you're mad at this album. But it's a question of taste, and I really like it. It's got your Walkman is dying. But the thing that Conductor can do is he can always extend out a beat at a certain time where you think, like, it's getting too samey. He extends it out. 4 chicken wings, lobster fried rice, still on that hood-ish. 4 homicides on the same night. We on that bull-ish. The best song ever written about Chinese food is the song Chinese Food by Biz Markie. If you've never heard it, please. It's off of his last album, which is it's tragic how few albums he released. It's probably, you know what, it's probably problematic. Maybe I shouldn't be sending you there, but it's a great song and it makes you want to eat Chinese food. Larry June's on here. He's perfect with this beat, and he's talking about his Porsches and just the gets even more warbly at the end. Then we have a skit playing dice and smoking blunts, and I think Meth is on here. We get the song Meth's Back by Derringer. Another laughing beat that's just so good. This nice high flute sound and these cool kind of double drums. But he loses. You lose, Conway. I'm sorry. Face Killah has a much better Method Man feature. I'll tell you why. It's not because of Meth's feature. Meth is very, very good guest rapper. I mean, he has not really missed a beat. Drum work for Headshots, like Early Retirement. I earned my title through my lack of early entitlement. Till I was titled rich, I didn't even know what entitled meant. That's wordplay. Find my best words on my worst day. My urge say, put him back in the box. Happy dirt day. Come on. Just seriously. It's really good. But the rest of the track, it's just too, what the hell are all these other rappers doing on here? What are they doing on here? It's not even that they're bad. SK Da King and Flea Lord. I like Flea Lord, you know? But it's just, it's too like, I want it to be like Lemon, you know, the track that he did on From King to a God. I want it to be Meth and Conway, just the two of them. Let's just hear them go. Let's just have it. Now, if it's a 2-minute song, I don't care. 1 minute of each of them. Next track is called Ninja Man, produced by Swizz Beatz. I'm not laughing. This is not one of the stronger beats on the album. It's not quite what I was hoping for. When you see Swizz Beatz, I like it because he's a very good... His solo album of a couple of years ago is one of the most underrated albums of the past 5 years. It's really, really top quality album. Very, very good. But this beat's maybe a little too clean. He's got that kind of faraway voice, and it's cool to have Swizz on here, and some of the bars are nice. You know, I'm in the kitchen whipping 2 bricks. That's Callaloo and Stew Fish. So that's, you know, a nice kind of double entendre, which he talks about for, I suppose, fish is for cocaine, right? But then he's also talking about Caribbean food. I think that's specific to Jamaica, but you tell me, maybe it's Bahamas. You tell me seriously, dear. Hey, if you know, by the way, I've never been to the Caribbean. Because it seems like I haven't figured out how to go there because I don't want to go to resorts, but then I also want to have a good time. So if you have advice on that, feel free to send me an email because I really want to go. But it's nice because then later it cuts into this kind of reggae song, which is why it's called Ninja Man, because Ninja Man is a great dancehall reggae star. I've never heard any songs by him. I think he does My Weapon. Okay, now I have to look that up. I'm in danger of, okay, Ninja Man, My Weapon. Yes, My Weapon. Great song. Then we get to Vertino, and now we've hit the laughing song. Camouflage Monk and Sad Who Gold, and some guy named Daniel Ross, who I assume is playing guitar. I don't know. Sad Who Gold and Camouflage Monk, 2 of the greatest underground producers working right now. This little ratty little guitar notes and these high warbled strings, and you think, okay, fine. And then comes the boom, bam. Oh, man. Just, the drums and the bass come in. The sturdiness of the beat with the uncertainness of the loop. The loop is a slant face, but the drums and the bass are just And I'm just driving. I'm sitting there. There's a new Amazon fulfillment center, cruelly named Amazon fulfillment center for the people who work there. And I'm just driving by and I see that little blue stripe and I don't care. I don't care what that says about our society because I am laughing. I'm listening to some great, great music. I'm listening to hip hop at its absolute highest point. And it's 2024. And I love listening to Enter the 36 Chambers, but you don't have to only listen to Enter the 36 Chambers. You can also listen to this. A very killer opening here. Seen a fiend find a vein in her ankle to shoot it. Shot that pussy in his knee like we draining some fluid. Rob a rapper at his own show, took his chain and threw it. Stupid. He is, as the kids would say, in his bag. He's just totally comfortable delivering killer lines, killer rhymes. Just almost every, like, words and syllables appear to be at his mercy. Nah, this god level Ferrari yellow, buying every switch, burn him with a stick like marshmallow. You 30-something and broke, still driving a bit the car, talking about getting licks off. I get big money at will when I'm putting letters together. I'm Wheel of Fortune. You see, again, he's talking about putting letters together. And then there's this like change in the feeling of the song that comes with this guitar that comes in. I don't know who's responsible, Sadu Gold or Camouflage. I'm like, it doesn't matter. This is greatness. We're witnessing greatness because guitar, if you watch this channel, you know I'm so freaking annoyed. No one learned the lesson from Lil Wayne. Stop using too much electric guitar in your rap music because you don't understand what makes good electric guitar, okay? Like you think it's just pay some studio guitars to go, and that just sounds like trash. Most guitar on most rap songs sounds like trash with some exceptions. Like this song. It's sparing. It's great. It adds to the song. Joey Bad, $, pops in and does 6 in the morning. Now listen, I do teach a class on hip hop culture and rap music, and I just wrote the final. And if you are in my class and you are watching this video, I want you to know 6 in the morning by Ice-T is on the exam. I had to choose between that and Boys in the Hood and PSK for the early sort of proto-gangster rap music, and I chose that song. So feel free to email all of your classmates and say, oh my God, Professor Skye said what's going to be on there, because that's going to be on there. Hey, I'm happy that you're checking in and trying to keep up on new music. And Joey Badass is great. Now, I like this reference to 6 in the morning, police at my door, fresh Adidas. I mean, he doesn't actually quote it directly, but just saying, anytime you talk about police coming in and being in the morning, and his voice pairs very nicely. He has kind of a cool, youthful voice. Then things go a little bit off the rails. Went from the super highs to the 10 Raya interlude. It's good. It's maybe like a little too like bad boy production style. Like the 808 drums, it's like less interesting than the boom bap drums. It's not the worst. There's some cool, almost like Kid Cudi style. And Key Glock is on here, and he's fine. And then we have a what the hell beat switch, and then someone named Raya comes on with this like almost like filthy, like the producer Filthy signing avant-garde beat with triumphant horns and weird stop and start, and he's like sort of rapping and kind of singing. He's sort of emotional. He's kind of nerdy. Who is Raya? Who's Raya? I guess I've been sleeping. If I've been sleeping, I apologize. I've not heard of Raya. This is a very interesting verse. It's like not really at home here. It's like emotional and kind of nerdy. Like a nimbus cloud, I'm about to take flight. I mean, that does not have a place on a Griselda album, but I really like his style. It's all over the place. It's wild. Next track is Dasani. I saw the name Dasani, and I was like, oh no. Oh, it's going to be a song about wet vaginas. Oh, I don't want songs about wet vaginas. I'm happy that we had the one. I'm happy when women sing about it. When men sing about it, not so much. When women sing about it, it's empowering because you're talking about things that have been taboo for most of human existence, which is female sexuality and female sexual pleasure. But this one is low power. It's cool. The beat's nice. Kind of like tinny drum machine hi-hats again, but nice kind of this low piano that punctuates the beginning of the phrase. It's this high piano sounds. It actually sort of reminds me of the beat on Meet the Grams by Alchemist. But I just effing that B from the back with the thumb in. Dude, I don't want to think about that. Anyway, And then we get to Raw, produced by Cardo, I believe. More modern drum machine drums, but I like this. Of all the modern songs, this is the one that I think works the best. And by modern, I mean just sort of like using drum machines as opposed to like real drum loops, you know. Nice backward synth sounds. And it's cool because there's an actual mixing. There's actual mixing in of the song Raw by Big Daddy Kane. So I just want to, I don't do sponsorships. So if I go on tangents, you can feel free to skip. But I want to go on a rap history tangent because I did not teach Big Daddy Kane in my class. There's a lot of things I had to miss. I didn't talk about drill music in my class, really. You know, I mean, there's only so much you can cover in 15 weeks. But this song, because it scratches the song Raw from 1987 by Big Daddy Kane, it got me to go back to that song and watch it. And just, here's the lyrics for you. I wrote them out in my hotel room this morning for you. And it's just a reminder of part of what made Big Daddy Kane so fascinating is he's like the best example of a rapper who just does not care about a line break. Here I am, R-A-W, a terrorist here to bring trouble to. Phony MCs, I move on and slice. I just conquer and stomp another rapper with ease. Like, he's able to do that thing of like taking one rhyme and then moving on to the next rhyme and then returning to the first rhyme, and he breaks the line, right? So there's the line, so as opposed to being like, breaks on the bus and breaks on the car. Boom, boom, doom, 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 doom. Right? As opposed to like ending things like that. He just really was a master of breaking the line and making these kinds of very interesting rhymes to go on. So that R-A-W from that song is right there. Hey, if you want to have a hip hop professor, spend a couple of minutes, listen to Raw by Big Daddy Kane, and then listen to Ain't No Half Steppin', my favorite song is Marley Marl. One of my favorite producers. Tech Nine is funny because he's got this super fast rap style, and he refers to it as this didn't really go with the Biggie and the Bone and Biggie flow, bro. So like that is kind of like the song off of Life After Death, where it has Bone Thugs and Harmony and Biggie, which is one of the two songs I always skip on that album. But I like how he refers to himself as Mecha Godzilla. I love Godzilla. I have a very strong attachment to Godzilla, and I like Mecha Godzilla. And I like, too, just how Conway can just deliver badass lines. It's constant controversy when I do interviews and have conversations. I really should have exposed you, but I let you live. So congratulations. And then there's this weird bridge with this cool sing-songy stuff. Like this song developed in so many different ways I just didn't expect. Like with this bridge, with the kind of singing and with the scratching that I didn't expect. It's nice. It's nice and unexpected. And then there's a little Fashion Week interview with some French interviewers at the end. Surf and Turf, produced by Conductor Williams. Man, I don't want to say this. But it's not a great song. I don't know if Conductor Williams is the guy you want for your posse cuts. I don't know. I've recently come to the realization that Alchemist is like a superior posse cut maker. I don't know. There's just too many people on here. Every single one of them individually is good. It's not like there's a bad verse on here. Like, I'm not even saying this is like a bad song. But with the rest of it, you know, Jay Worthy's solid. I like he makes the Great Poupon reference. Conway's, you know, he has a nice kind of run here of the kind of rapidy rap stuff. Yeah, we was generous to these degenerates that keep pretending it's love so they can reap the benefits. 211 and TF are fine. But then, fortunately, Ab-Soul is on here. And Ab-Soul is on an absolute run here. He had the best verse on the J. Cole album. Might delete later. Remember that album? Remember when that album came out? And it was like, wow, this rap beef got interesting. Ab-Soul, I don't know his work very well, so please tell me in the comments, like, what should I know about Ab-Soul, besides the fact that I like these couple of verses? Because he just does great work on pronunciation and pronunciation changing and mixing up expectations. This verse and the J. Cole verse are both around religious themes. Different gold commodes, same-ish, smell the potpourri. The best thing since sliced bread, save a loaf for me, and two fish, who is you, bish? Jesus wept and doves cry, I say it with hubris. Let go my ego, I do it for the people. You know, like the let go my ego, but it became let go my ego, my people. Ab-Soul, really, you can spend a lot of time with this verse. Karimi, produced by Beat Butcher and Camouflage Monk, the violin kind of stabs and the drums are kind of start and stop. Cool, like simple bass here. Maybe some like synthesizer in the back as well. We firemen, we handle smoke accordingly. In my opinion, we keeping it all the way 60 plus a 40 piece. The GOAT rapper, Mount Rushmore should be sculptured with 4 of me. He's not the first person to say that, but I like that. In my opinion, if we were to have like a Mount Rushmore of the top 4 rappers of all time, it'd be Dylon, 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 and Dylon. But that's just me. Machine piece letters together. Then I received cheddar. Getting back to that line. Kind of a conductor warble here as well. He's not on this track. And like there's this guy who's just sort of talking, but this is where I realized how good of a beat this was because I didn't care. You know, usually at the end of a song, if it's just like a skit or someone talking, I'm just like, all right, move on. But this is just very nice, very engaging, very good. Red Moon and Osaka is the final track produced by Alchemist featuring Raekwon. Alchemist is noodly guitar. It seems like it might even be like tap licks and then guitar also being played. Hey, another good song with guitar on this album. That's 2 for 2, like Chuck Woolery. Jesus Christ. That is the oldest reference I've ever made. Okay. All right. Listen, what am I supposed to do? Not be born in 1977? So hey, if you're out there and you know who the... I'm going to swear. If you know who the fuck Chuck Woolery is, you tell me in the comments, okay? You got a lot of work to do. You got to make fun of me for saying intensement. You got to say you don't care about jockeys, and you definitely got to tell me that you know who Chuck Woolery is. And I like the way Alchemist uses the flange beat as well. Like, and there's drums here. It's not drumless, but the thing that Alchemist can do is he has drums that don't make a beat. Like other stuff makes the beat. Dodging them shows out in Cali. It's way too grimy. I got my biggest bag in LA. Shohei Ohtani. This is the first Shohei verse I've ever heard. So I want to give it props because he's super paid and there's going to be so many Shohei lyrics. So let this be, okay? Let's do it. Let's keep a tally. And you can send me, you can like comment if I don't get to an album it talks about. Let's get a compendium of Shohei Ohtani references. And then we have the outro with this kind of like sense of accomplishment. And like the piano like kind of comes washing in the sense of accomplishment. You know, I mean, it's Raekwon talking about how great Griselda is and how great Conway is. And I know what you're thinking. You wish Raekwon would just rap on this. Well, you got to wait for my next review. You got to wait for my Slant Face Killah review because he raps on there and he's quite good. But here he's just talking. And listen, there's people just talking at the end of your track. And then there's Raekwon the Chef just talking at the end of your track. Breaking atoms and scraping fams is that and all that. You hear me? Word up, mighty buff. Know your cloth is embraced with nothing but tons of metals. He's awesome. And it's a nice, long cinematic intro. Oh, Jesus Christ. I just said intro. It's an outro. So I hope you all enjoyed this review. If you feel the way I do, let me know. How great is this album? Are we just super happy? I know he released 8 projects last year, but I feel like one of my favorite rappers is back. He was not on my greatest of right now list that I put out last year. And he used to be like 2 years ago, I would say he was probably like the second best rapper active. And then he fell off my top 5 list. And now, because rap is a moving art, I think he's back on the top 5 list. And I'm happy to see it. All right, I have to go watch some boats from very far away. Until next time, smash like bucket. I said all that stuff. I said all the stuff I say. I don't see any horses out there to show you. So you're just going to have to imagine. There's the camera.